Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back. I welcome you all in the second session of this teleconferencing program of Advanced Certificate in Power Distribution Management. We have expert Mr. B.P. Mukherjee with us and discussing about the quality of supply and services. Now I would request Mr. Mukherjee to continue his presentation.
Thank you, Rakhi. In the first session we have come up to the cost and profitability. Now we will talk about people productivity. People are there in the organization for managing the consumers, for managing the sales, for managing the revenue, so for managing the circuit kilometer, for managing the connected load. So therefore we can always define some of the parameters like this: number of employees per 1,000 consumers, number of employees per million units of sale, number of employees per crore of revenue, number of employees per circuit kilometer, number of employees per kilowatt of connected load, like this. Similarly, consumers per meter reader. Similarly, man-days outage ratio, man-days outage in a given period divided by total man-days available for the same period. Then in some organizations, they also try to see the front-line employee ratio, number of employees directly dealing with consumers divided by total number of employees, so that the company does not look like a top-heavy organization. Similarly, the human capacity building, average training hours per full-time employee, in-house training hours, number of external training hours, operational training hours, developmental training hours. In any organization, we will always conduct some of the training programs which are to make an impact on developing their skill set, meaning thereby on their line management, asset management, field operation, so on and so forth. And some training programs are meant for developing their intellect, developing themselves attitudinally. So we always have to have the right kind of balance to do that. Similarly, the average training cost for full-time employee, in-house training cost, external training cost as percentage of total compensation. Training cost per hour, meaning thereby in all organizations should try to give at least 1 week of training to each and every individual employee in the organization. Now we will talk something about the customer service. The customer service means there are some key ingredients, something called commercial quality standards, continuity of supply, power quality, important to consumers, controllable by companies and measurable by regulators. I will give you an example. Commercial quality, outage response time, new connection time, the time taken for estimating the charges, the time taken to rectify the meter problem, time taken to recorrect after disconnection. So these are the different. So whenever consumer will come to you, your moment of truth will come. Each and every transaction is a moment of truth for you. So each and every transaction should be monitored and each and every transaction should be measured to improve upon your quality of service and supply. Similarly, the maximum waiting time in a customer service center. In some of the organizations, they are asking the people not to wait in the queue, but to take the token and sit down and try to wait till his or her name is being called out or the token number is being flashed. So similarly, time to answer the customer service telephone call, notice of supply interruptions, minimum 48 hours or 36 hours, voltage complaint, number of actual meter readings within a year, response to customer letters. Generally, utilities are never known for replying the customers' letters. So how much time will take to reply to a customer. Cutoff at the Similarly, the duration of interruption per consumer per single outage, already we have talked about KPI. Number of interruptions per customer, already we have talked about it. Yearly duration of interruption, then so similarly the power quality standards. Up till now we are talking about reliability, availability. Now we are talking about power quality standards. What is power quality? It should be either frequency or magnitude, or the fluctuations of voltage magnitude, voltage imbalance, voltage deep, short interruptions, long interruptions, harmonics, and so on and so forth. So there are different specific standards and utilities supposed to maintain. So for example, in case of frequency, the better will be 49.5 to 50.5. In some cases, 48.6, 48.8, 48. So you need to really release your load from time to time to ensure that the frequency will not fall down beyond certain level. Magnitude, fluctuation of voltage magnitude, voltage imbalance. It's a voltage imbalance, then the voltage deep, short interruption, long interruption, as I have told you. There are certain regulatory standards. Many regulators in India, they are really setting different standards. Release of connection from existing network. GRC, the Gujarat is saying 20 days. DRC is saying 7 days. In case of MERC 30 days, KERC 30 days, APRC 30 days, Rajasthan is saying 30 to 45 days, Uttaranchal is saying 7 days. So similarly, different regulators are setting different standards for the customer service. The inspection of faulty meter after inspection, rectification and supply restoration, then the rectification and supply restoration. So in the urban area, in rural area, different standards for different regulators. Performance monitoring, is it required? It is a dashboard. Whenever we drive a car, we always try to look at the dashboard to see whether I'm running out of fuel, at what speed I'm running, at so on and so forth. So it's a dashboard to trigger action. Whenever I really monitor the performance, it's all about a dashboard to trigger action. At the same point of time, measurement always drives change. It really formulates new rules. Then at the same point of time, if I find that there is a dip in the performance, I can always increase my resource level to ensure that the customers are being provided the right kind of service. Time compression, and at the same point of time, cost curtailment. So these are generally the reasons for which we monitor the performance. In terms of network management, extension of H&M network during the month, similar we always try to monitor number of new service connection, do something called earned value analysis, the number of training hours in a month, number of communication meetings. In most of the organizations, communication meetings do take place between senior people, senior management people, and the operational people. So more the communication meetings, the more social. Today's world requires social intelligence. It's no longer the individual intelligence. So social intelligence, the emotional intelligence, as well as the individual intelligence, your knowledge intelligence, all will lead to making a perfect utility. So number of meters found tamper, number of meters burned, the number of meters, the ATC loss, and the overall standards of performance, and as I have told you, different reliability indices. So all this will really form the customer satisfaction. That will lead to, these are the ingredients of quality of service. At the same point of time, as I have told you, we need to really monitor and sometimes analyze these performance. What are the different tools we have? We have histograms. We have histograms means it is a frequency distribute. It's really a frequency bar graph. Thereby, we can always find out, sometimes we have the cause and effect diagram. Our transformer is failing quite repeatedly. Why? Is there a problem with the workmanship, or with the assemblies, or with the components, or with the suppliers? Installation, work procedures, earthing, are the transformers being provided with the right kind of protection against lightning surges? Similarly, for the environment, what kind of traffic, temperature, humidity, sometimes transformers are subjected to different vandalism. So, sometimes it is the men who are working on the transformers, their experience, their attitude, their skill. Sometimes the machine itself, the transformer machine itself, the tooling, the fixtures, the variability, the technology. Sometimes the measurement, gauging, counting, taste, instruments. So all this we have to really analyze to find out why the transformer has failed. Similarly, we have to have sometimes we do Pareto analysis. My meters are failing quite repeatedly. We have to do different Pareto analysis. Pareto is the name of an Italian scientist, Wilfred Pareto. He really came out with this beautiful analytical tool, which means the vital few, trivial many. In case of failure, there can be vitally few important reasons. There can be many trivial reasons, but very few vital reasons. So that is called Pareto analysis. So, for example, my meters are failing. Why they are failing? Is it, so we have to see, we have to do aging analysis, meaning thereby, the more the age, more the failure. Is it a fact in case of transformer meter? At the same point of time, we have to find out what kind of meters are failing. Is it a single phase meters or three phase meters, or even on the single phase meters, what are the ratings of these meters? So if we do this kind of analysis, we can gain different insights. Based on that, we can develop our game plan to arrest the failure rate of meters or transformers, whatever it may be. Similarly, we have, in some cases, people do control charts. Control chart means these are the charts which is just like your traffic signal. By doing a control chart, what we can do? We can always analyze that whether the, in case of complaint management system, how long what is the average time taken by our employees to rectify a fault or restore supply. At the same point of time, that is the range. Sometimes we also talk about mean as well, average time, and what is the maximum time and what is the minimum time. Sometimes we also do the PDCA analysis, plan, do, check, act, which is also called the Deming cycle. We also sometimes, in many of the substations, we do 5 ways, we use 5 ways techniques, meaning thereby 5 ways means, you know, it's a technique used to establish and maintain quality environment in an organization. The 5 ways for Japanese word means Siri, Seton, Siso, Sekekko and Sitsuke. Meaning thereby, in a Siri means check. In a substation operation, substation should be kept in a very tidy and clean situation, or in a tidily and cleanly it should be maintained. Therefore, it is check. Then again, we have similarly we have Satan means arrange a place for everything. Everything is in its place. So in a substation, in your office, we can always do lot of Satan as well. Similarly, we have clean your workplace, SESO, clean your workplace thoroughly. Are the float surfaces dirty? In any substation, you have got oil circuit breaker. Are the floor surfaces dirty? Are the machine equipment dirty? Are the wires and pipes dirty? Are the transformers, breakers dirty by lubricants and dust? Are shades and light bulbs and light reflectors dirty? Similarly, we have Seketsu, meaning thereby maintain a standard. Is one uniform dirty or untidy? Are there sufficient light? Is there a noise or heat at your workplace causing discomfort? So again, they train the people to be disciplined. That is called Setsuke, meaning thereby are regular 5As being conducted? Do people clean up without reminders? Do people follow rules and instructions? Do people wear their uniforms and safety gears properly? So therefore, you know, any kind of an utility environment, we should try to maintain the 5As environment. Now, how to do the performance benchmarking? The first step will be planning. We need to really gather and review data from customers. Sometimes some of the utilities conduct customer satisfaction survey. Try to understand, are the customers happy or satisfied with your performance? You might feel that we are rendering a great service to our customers, but maybe there are some gaps. Maybe the customers are not happy with you. So therefore, customer satisfaction needs to be done. Sometimes we have to ensure that the internal clients who are the employees of the organization, are they satisfied? If the employees are not satisfied, nothing can happen. So therefore, we have to see the employees will come forward and they will tell whether you have anticipation, speed, flexibility in the organization or not. You might say that my employees are very, very happy, satisfied. That may not be the case. So therefore, we need to do an employee satisfaction survey as well. Gather and review data on processes and competitors and regulators. From regulators, the develop plan to achieve short-term benchmarking goals, long-term benchmarking goals, and then assign accountability for implementing the benchmarking plan. Develop ways to measure the success of the benchmarking implementation. Revisit the benchmarking plan to identify needed change and document results. Similarly, without leadership, nothing can happen. So therefore, as I told you in course of our discussion, social intelligence, individual intelligence, intellectual intelligence, knowledge intelligence, emotional intelligence will always play a very, very important part. And leaders, the power utility leaders, they have to really perform. We need to really imbibe that concept of excellence. Without internalize the concept of excellence, leaders cannot take their employees forward. So leaders will have to promote the concept of team-based approach. Some leaders are very, very aggressive negotiators with their employees. Some leaders are assertive to their employees. They will do a bit of subtle assertion to get the work done from the employees. Some cases, train others in the benchmarking, visit other locations in the organization to see how benchmarking is working, reinforce benchmarking through rewards, recognition and promotions, monitor close and direct contact with key customers, create an empowering organization. That's very, very important. You know, gone are those days of command and control. Today is the era of empowerment and engagement. Today, the leaders will have to create more managers, more business managers than mere engineers. How and make them accountable for implementing benchmarking. Total ownership for key process improvement. So at the same point of time, you need to create an infrastructure for doing a benchmarking study. Create a means to manage the benchmarking rollout, identify, train and empower internal benchmarking champions. Develop a process for reopening and monitoring benchmarking. Identify, select and train individuals to consult internally on quality implementation. Designate one person to directly accountable to the senior most person to execute implementation details. Focus and rollout. The idea is develop a benchmarking rollout plan. Target as a short-term key processes you want to improve and measure. Target as a short-term goal and the key managers who will implement the benchmarking. Target as a short-term goal the key locations in which to implement benchmarking. Define targets, thresholds and distinguish levels. Sometimes we define some targets which you have to achieve. Sometimes we define some threshold limits, and sometimes we think that if we can achieve that, we will say that you have achieved distinguished performance. So then again, the target as a short-term goal, the customer priorities on which to focus. Target long-term rollout needs for headquarters, divisions, regions. Target long-term rollout needs for more complex processes. Select a few critical processes and assign a senior manager personally accountable for improving them. Set sketch objectives for improvement along critical lines like cost, time and defects for each targeted processes. Measurement. Sometimes we need to, as I told you at the beginning, unless you measure you cannot monitor. Unless you monitor you cannot control. Unless you control you cannot improve. So therefore you need to focus on all these aspects: employee satisfaction, process improvement, organizational development, and thereby you have to create a measurement tracking system, and after that you have to create a reporting structure so that everything will be measured. The training, at the same point of time you need to really develop your people, do a capacity building, develop a benchmarking training strategy and plan, assign responsibility for benchmarking education to a senior manager, identify gaps between current training and benchmarking training needs, establish a benchmarking curriculum. Benchmarking training against world-class organizations. At the same point of time, you need to have resources. Identify and fulfill benchmarking needs for financial support. Consider the needs of the customers, regulators when allocating resources. Incorporate quality into the annual planning process. Consider your commitment to suppliers when allocating resources. So benchmarking is a very, very important tool which can always take an organization to a different platform. So therefore, gather and integrate information critical to benchmarking implementation. Assign a senior process owner to manage information and communication. Develop a benchmarking communication strategy. Measure the effectiveness of benchmarking communication. Communicate a personal statement from the CEO or MD about commitment to benchmarking. At the same point of time, you need to develop the systems to do this benchmarking study. Align the benchmarking with the customer needs, with the organizational needs, with the people's job description. At the same, the customers, sometimes we have to develop, we have to find out some of the very, very special and key customer accounts and develop customer alignment strategy and plan, establish valid customer requirements and expectations, develop and use customer satisfaction survey, develop. Sometimes you have to have a focus group as well. Focus group, create partnership relationship, partner relationship with the customers, link customer requirements to the development of new service. At the same point of time, we have to think about the regulators as well. Develop and communicate policies and procedures to remedy service errors. Empower everyone in the organization to beat regulatory requirements. Regulator might have set some target, but our aim will be to exceed those targets. Gather continuous feedback from regulator, anticipate regulators' future need, benchmark to help achieve continuous improvement, and measure the quality of the competition. Sometimes in course of my discussion, we are talking about safety management. We are talking about safety issues. In India, in the power utility business, safety is a very, very important issue. We have to think about our work procedures. We have to think about the equipment we use. We have to think about the documentation we do in regard to safety management. Believe me, in other countries, especially in the developed nations, the fatal cases are absolutely or almost nil, which is unfortunately is not the case with us. So we have to ensure, so therefore we have to engage the right kind of vendor to develop the right kind of equipment to ensure that our people at the same point of time, public property and everything are safe and the utility can operate without endangering the environment, without endangering the community at large. So with the suppliers, we have to develop a partnership relationship. The suppliers are the extended arm of the utility. We have to ensure that. Otherwise, we have to some of the utilities use supplier satisfaction measures to improve upon their performance. Similarly, some of the utilities also give supplier awards, offer training to the suppliers, benchmark with key suppliers to learn how competitors are operating, gather continuous feedback from suppliers, empower everyone in the organization to improve the relationship with the suppliers. Last but not the least is the continuous improvement. Already we talked about PDCA. Continuous improvement means, in Japanese terminology, it means Kaizen, K-I-Z-E-N, meaning thereby small incremental improvement. If you can do small incremental improvement, the organization, if everybody does it, organization in itself will improve up. So, for example, in our maintenance program, we need to ensure that we have developed the right kind of maintenance program. All of us will have to contribute so that our equipment are being operated in a safe manner. So that is all about continuous improvement. Otherwise, in some of the cases, people do dramatic step function improvement. That's very, very important too. But for doing dramatic improvement, you need to have innovative people, which may not be the case all the time. But all of us in the organization have some potential to improve a lot. Whatever we were doing yesterday, we can do a little better today. And if we can do that, the organization as a whole will improve upon. So therefore, the continuous improvement is the key to ensure quality of service to my customers, to the customers of any organization. Similarly, we have to talk about balanced scorecard. Balanced scorecard is a concept given to the management world by two gentlemen, David sorry David Norton and Robert Kaplan. What they said? They said in an organization you need to develop some KPIs for financials, for customers, for internal business processes and for learning and growth of the people. So based on that, you can always develop a balanced scorecard. Here is a, balanced scorecard means that it will take into account the intangible assets, capturing and measuring the mechanism, long-term capability and the competitive edge, measures of the drivers of the future performance with the financial measures of the past performance. Core issue of creation of future value through investment in technology, processes, innovation. Employees, shareholders and customers. This is just an illustrative example of a balanced scorecard. We need to really, from the finance, maybe we can always monitor ROC, return on capital employed, the distribution, administration and other expenses, your some kind of cost, your cost, then under the customers, customer perception of service, the overall service standard, your network downtime, in terms of process, supply chain efficiency, T&D loss, billing time, billing accuracy, in terms of learning and growth, say energy conservation, energy efficiency, productivity rate and employee satisfaction index. If in this kind of a balanced scorecard format, we really set some flow level, an organization will have to achieve that. If it fails to achieve that, the organization will get a 0 against that parameter. If it can really reach the target, it will get the full scores, but there is a threshold limit. If its performance is between threshold limit and the target value, then we can always allocate some scores against that particular parameter in line with the accomplishment he has the made against that parameter. So this is just balanced scorecard is a very important tool. Here you are taking into consideration the expectation of the shareholders, because you are looking after the finance. You are looking after the interest of the customers as well. They are very important. And also learning and growth means employees. You are taking into consideration the interest of the employees as well. Then you have internal process efficiency, processes. How all these, because an organization is a 3-legged stool, how all these legs of that stool are working together in symphony with each other. How they are really performing in sync with each other can only be captured through a balanced scorecard format. Some of the utilities have already adopted this format and they are trying to track their progress based on balanced scorecard format. Another tool is very important, is called Six Sigma. Six Sigma, what is this? It is a statistical measure of the performance of a process or a product, a goal that reaches near perfection improvement, a system of management to achieve business relationship and world-class performance. Six Sigma, it's a statistical measure, meaning thereby if there is a 3.4 defects per million opportunities, that is called you have achieved Six Sigma level. Six Sigma really depicts how capable your process is. Suppose there is a standard that you have to meet, or you have to restore faults, or you have to restore the connection or restore the supply to a particular customer within 2 hours or not. So through Six Sigma we can always find out whether the process is capable enough to meet that kind of a stringent standard or not. So the Six Sigma means the very moment we will reach the level of Six Sigma means there are 3.4 defects per million opportunity. Six Sigma means what? Genuine focus on customer. You need to really place the customer at the epicenter of your business model. Whatever way you're operating, you have to really think about your customer. Data and fact-driven management. You know, we can always, sometimes management is being done on the basis of our perception. But the more important thing is we should try to manage facts or manage performance on the basis of some hardcore data. Six Sigma talks about that. Processes are where the action is. Six Sigma is a proactive management tool. It is a proactive. It will always encourage you to improve. But at the same point of time, Six Sigma encourages boundaryless collaboration. No functional division, no store, no operation, no finance. So we have to talk about boundaryless collaboration if we have to promote Six Sigma concept. Drive for perfection. Sometimes there will be failure. You need to tolerate those failures. This is a Six Sigma tool which is called DMAIC. Define the problem. There should be a business case, constant, scope, players and role and schedule. So define the problem, measure, gather data to validate and to quantify the problem. Tease out facts and data. Then process view. SIPOC model. In all the processes, you have a supplier who provides you the input, then you have the output, then you have the customer. So based on this SIPOC model, Six Sigma has been developed. Then you need to analyze your method, machines, material, measure, mother nature and man and people, and then improve solution and action. Then control, develop monitoring processes, create response plan, help management focus on critical measures. So Six Sigma is a very, very important tool to do a dramatic improvement in the performance level of any organizations, be it in utility, be it in any other organization. So accordingly, sometimes after all this good words, we always have a lot of failures. The awareness of potential obstacles that may hinder the benchmarking will prevent many of them from happening. Forewarned is forearmed. Sometimes all these initiatives fail. Why? We do not forewarn ourselves against some of the potential obstacles and barriers. So therefore, forewarned is forearmed. Similarly, reasons of failure, benchmarking without building the quality culture. You need to define the quality. The definition of quality in today's world is P by E. Performance of the product or service. In our case, it is the performance of the service divided by expectation of the customer. See how the quality has improved in the banking industry. Gone are those days of going to a bank to encash a check. We always go to ATM to get some money. So see the way all the other industries are really changing. The telecom industry, 10 years ago, the performance of BSNL, MTNL, and see their performance today. How the quality, because the customers' perceptions, the customers' expectations have really gone up, and we need to, so we in an organization, we need to develop that quality culture. Sometimes lack of top management commitment and involvement leads to failure in a benchmarking initiative. Sometimes we have to face employee resistance. Employee resistance, employee needs to be communicated, employee needs to be put on, employee needs to be told, or they have to come on board so that they also swim along the tide of change, and then the change will happen. The barriers between departments. Sometimes in most of the utilities it has been seen that there is a huge Chinese walls between the departments. One department does not talk to other department. There is always a top problem. So if these problems exist, then we cannot achieve success. Similarly, benchmarking, overly complicated by statistical process control, it will not happen. Employees have to see some kind of purpose. Therefore, always we say, do something pilot, show it to others, that if you do this, you're going to get success, and that will really motivate the employee to really go for the benchmarking practices. The clashes with other initiatives, failure to link benchmarking strategically with business goals. Since benchmarking has a lot to do with downsizing and delayering, the middle management did not support. The many initiatives were left halfway because they did not result in improved profit. Sometimes we have got a huge satisfaction with status quo. We do not know that we are satisfactorily underperforming. So obsession with short-term results, including profits, market shares, and so on and so forth. Indiscriminate cost-cutting, unempowered, poorly motivated, paid personnel, and disregard to the ideas and suggestions also lead to a failure. Hands-on relationship, always doing a crisis management, emphasis on correction and inspection rather than prevention and proactive approach, unreliable processes and systems, centralized and bureaucratic decision making. This all leads to failure of the utility. So you will find these presentation available both on the IGNOU website, I believe. At the same point of time, in the DRAM website, I will request all of you to browse the DRAM website, www.drumindia.org. You will get the entire presentation over there, and I am always available on this email. You can always catch me or send me an email, bp.mukherjee, mukherjee@paconsulting.com. Thank you very much.
So I would like to thank Mr. Mukherjee, who has enlightened us on various aspects of the quality supply and the services, and focused on the key performance indicators, benchmarking, and the performance improvement. So thank you, sir. And we will again be in discussion after 15 minutes with the next topic of the energy scenario and distribution reforms with some other expert. Thank you.